on the Grom life. Let's get some. This dude is like super official on this Grom. Got the Alpine Star jacket, the Rye helmet. Yo, he's all color coded and everything. Yeah, it's dope. Looking like a Power Ranger. I dig it. Alright, what's up people? Today we are doing something a little bit different, and we're doing a book review. What, Tyler, a book review? That's so boring. Okay, I get it. But listen. So the book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Why is this book important? So unless you are like Bear Grylls or Bear Grylls, whatever his name is, and you live in the woods and you hunt your own food and never interact with with civilization, which is probably not most of you that are watching this. I would argue that it's none of you, right? Unless that's the case, you are interacting with people every day. So it makes sense to understand people and to have the ability to build better and stronger relationships. Right? Because life is a people game. It's all about people. So, How to Win Friends and Influence People, written by Dale Carnegie, was written or published in 1937. Dale Carnegie, at the time, he was conducting... I want to say he's conducting a train, but he was putting on seminars, right, about influence and persuasion and sales and this type of thing. So it was focused not, I mean, his seminars were focused on like business folks, but really the subject matter relates to anybody that wants to be a successful human in a world of humans. Alright, so let's get into it. The book is broken into 4 major parts. So the first part of the book that we're going to cover today, Part 1, the fundamental techniques to handling people. Alright, so let's get into Part 1. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. Alright, so this opens up with a story about Two Gun Crowley, right, and how he, killed these cops, and he's in a firefight with the police. They ended up killing him, but before they do, he writes a letter, and in the letter he says, "Under my coat is a wary heart, but a kind one that would do nobody any harm." Right, in a similar fashion, right, but here's this guy that had just killed a cop like the week before because he walked up and said, "Hey, can I have your license and registration?" And he pulled out a gun and shot him dead on the spot. Right? Then at the same time, Al Capone said of himself, "I have spent the best years of my life giving people the lighter pleasures, helping them have a good time, and all I get is abuse, the existence of a hunted man." Right? And that's Al Capone, right? Notorious gangster. So what's the point of this, of these stories, right? So when you get to the first principle, it is, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Right? And he says here at the ending, instead of condemning people, let's try to understand them. Let's try to figure out why they do what they do. That's a lot more profitable and intriguing than criticism, and it breeds sympathy, tolerance, and kindness. To know all is to forgive all. As Dr. Johnson said, God himself, sir, does not propose to judge man until the end of his days. Why should you and I? So that's a really powerful thing, and I think about this in... you hear about these gangsters, and the gist is that we each see ourselves in a positive light. So if you approach somebody and start to complain and condemn them, that automatically misaligns with their story of themselves. So a way to avoid that and to start aligning with people is to just avoid condemning or criticizing and start to see things from their point of view, so that you can open a conversation that way and you'll have a lot more success. So that's principle number 1. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Principle 2, or chapter 2, the big secret of dealing with people. So we'll read here. There's only one way under high heaven to get anybody to do anything. Did you ever stop to think of that? Yes, just one way, and that is by making the other person want to do it. Remember, there is no other way. So Dr. Dewey said that the deepest urge in human nature is the desire to be important. Right? Remember that phrase, the desire to be important. So Dr. Dewey also, right, so he lists out these 8 things that people need, right? Health and the preservation of life, food, sleep, money and the things money will buy, life and the hereafter, sexual gratification, the well-being of our children, and a feeling of importance. So he goes on to say that the most often unfilled of these 8 things is a feeling of importance. Lincoln once said that everybody likes a compliment, right? And that the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. All right, here is a gnawing and unfaltering human hunger, and the rare individual who honestly satisfies this heart hunger will hold people in the palm of his or her hand, and even the undertaker will be sorry when he dies. Right? So that kind of gets to this point that people want to feel important. They want to feel appreciated. So principle number 2 is give honest and sincere appreciation. Right? Really appreciate people, and you can start to build this bond with other individuals because they know that you appreciate them, and that's something that everybody desires. Everybody wants to be appreciated. So allow them that. Oh, alright, chapter 3. This is the last chapter in the first part. He who can do this has the whole world within him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. So, alright, I'll read this opening paragraph. So I often went fishing up in Maine during the summer. Personally, I am very fond of strawberries and cream, but I have found that for some strange reason, fish prefer worms. So when I went fishing, I didn't think about what I wanted, I thought about what they wanted. I didn't bait the hook with strawberries and cream, rather, I dangled a worm or a grasshopper in front of the fish and said, "Wouldn't you like to have that?" So kind of picking up the gist of this chapter here is, why talk about what we want? That is childish, absurd. Of course you are interested in what you want. You are eternally interested in it. But no one else is. The rest of us are just like you. We are interested in what we want. So the only way on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. That's an interesting part there, right? And show them how to get it. Right, so Harry Overstreet, in his book Influencing Human Behavior, action springs out of what we fundamentally desire. And the best piece of advice which can be given to would-be persuaders, whether in business, in the home, in the school, in politics, is, first, arouse in the other person an eager want. He who can do this has the world within him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. So each chapter also goes through a series of stories, right? Because people learn best not just by given facts, by being given facts, but by having these facts wrapped up into stories that they can remember. I don't know why that is, why that our brain works that way, that we can retain information more readily when it's in a story, but it's true. So each chapter has a plethora of stories that support each of these principles and are worth reading, right? So this is obviously a cursory overview of the book, and I highly recommend that you buy the book and read it for yourself to understand these stories and get these examples. But principle number 3 is arouse in the other person an eager want. So one of the stories that I'll illustrate here for you without reading it word for word is, a lot of people, when they're asking for something, whether in a letter or something like this, they talk about what they want first or the problems that they're having first, and then at the very end they talk to, well, if you help me, this will benefit you, because of this or that reason. Instead, what he recommends is that you start with addressing what they want and understanding their point of view, and then from there you can go on to craft a message that speaks to your desires and how you guys can work together, you guys and girls can work together, but never to start with what your wants are. Always start with the other person's desires. So that's the first part of the book in a nutshell. In the following segment, we will do part 2, 6 ways to make people like you. interesting stuff. So I hope that you found this somewhat useful and at least an introduction to this really powerful and important book for anybody that wants to connect with people in a meaningful way. Hope you enjoy it.